clouds, kicking hard fist in the air. Smell the fear, we don't care. Middle finger, wave goodbye. Volley loud into the sky.
Ever feel like the world could use a bit more, well, magic?
I know that feeling.
Yeah, like a little sprinkle of something extraordinary.
Absolutely.
Well, today's deep dive might just hold the key, like a spellbook for the modern age. We're diving into how to become a wizard, with or without magic.
Now that's a title that grabs your attention.
Right. I mean, can you actually become a wizard? With or without, as the title says, magic? We're gonna find out.
Color me intrigued. I'm always up for a little enchantment.
Who isn't?
Yeah.
But I have a feeling this is less about pulling rabbits out of hats and more about tapping into something, well, deeper.
Exactly. Think more along the lines of unleashing your inner wizard.
Okay, I like where this is going. But before we get lost in a world of wands and whatnot, let's meet the wizard behind the curtain, Simon Kalimanus.
The self-proclaimed wandering wizard, if I'm not mistaken.
The one and only. And trust me, this guy's life story is anything but ordinary.
Oh. I'm sensing some stories in our future.
Kidnappings, haunted houses, even starting a funk club at seminary dedicated to, get this, the supernatural.
Wow, you're not kidding. This isn't your typical self-help guru.
Not even close. But before we get too swept up in the, shall we say, mystique, we should probably define what we actually mean when we say wizard.
Right, because we're not just talking about someone who can conjure a spell.
Yeah, it's a bit more nuanced than that, isn't it?
It is. The word wizard itself has a fascinating history. It might bring up images of magic and sorcery, but at its root, it's actually connected to wisdom.
Well, wizard.
Yeah.
Like someone who's really, really wise.
Exactly. And that's actually a great place to start, because Kalimanus builds his whole idea of wizardry around three core concepts: knowledge, intelligence, and, of course, wisdom.
Okay, so let's break that down a bit, because I have a feeling this goes way beyond just knowing a bunch of trivia.
Oh, you're definitely on the right track there. And what's interesting is that Kalimanus is very deliberate about how he separates these ideas, which are often used interchangeably. He starts with knowledge as the base, the foundation.
Knowledge is the foundation, huh? So kind of like if we're building a wizard tower, knowledge is the bricks.
Ooh, I like that. A solid foundation of bricks. You know how many bricks you need to build a good, strong tower?
Right, a lot of bricks.
Exactly. So when it comes to knowledge, think of it like gathering all sorts of facts, information, those little details, and storing them away, like filling up your wizard satchel with all those essential ingredients.
Okay, so you've got your wizard satchel. It's packed with all the magical ingredients you could need, but that doesn't make you a master potion maker, does it?
You got it. You can have a pantry full of ingredients, but that does make you a chef.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly. So there's got to be more to it than that.
Right. And that's where, according to Kalimanus, intelligence comes in. It's all about how you use all that knowledge, how you piece it together.
So it's not enough to just collect the ingredients. You have to know the recipe.
Yes. And be able to adapt it, too, on the fly. Think of someone like, oh, I don't know, Sherlock Holmes.
The master of deduction.
Exactly. He could walk into a room, notice a few seemingly insignificant details, and suddenly, bam, he's got it all figured out.
He's like a knowledge detective.
He is. That's intelligence at work, taking those raw facts and spinning them into something truly insightful. You're not just a walking encyclopedia. You're using those facts to understand the world around you.
All right, so we've got the knowledge, the building blocks. We're putting those to good use with a healthy dose of intelligence, our inner Sherlock. But Kalimanus says there's still another piece to this wizard puzzle, right?
He does. And this is the big one. Wisdom. Because it's one thing to be smart, but it's another thing entirely to be wise.
So what's the difference?
Well, Kalimanus believes that wisdom is all about using your knowledge and intelligence to make good choices. Thoughtful choices that take the bigger picture into account.
So it's not just about being clever, it's about being, well, good, ethical.
You've got it. It's about considering the long-term consequences of your actions, not just the immediate payoff. Remember that story about King Solomon?
Wait, the one where he suggests cutting a baby in half? That always seemed a little extreme.
Right. But on the surface, it sounds crazy. But that was the whole point. Solomon, in his wisdom, understood human nature. He knew that the real mother would never let her child be harmed.
So it was a test.
A test designed to reveal the truth by appealing to a deeper sense of, well, wisdom.
So wisdom is about more than just book smarts. It's about having a deeper understanding of what really matters, of right and wrong.
Yes. And this is where Kalimanus brings in that famous Robert Frost line.
Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Exactly. Choosing the path of wisdom often means taking the road less traveled, making the choices that might not be easy but ultimately lead to greater growth, both for ourselves and, ideally, for the world around us.
But how do we know which path is the wise one? It's not like there's a map for this kind of journey. You know, you're right. There's no GPS for this kind of journey, is there? No handy-dandy map that says, turn left at the wise old oak to reach your inner wizard. So how do we find that path, that road less traveled?
That's the question, isn't it? The million-dollar question. And I think Kalimanus would probably say, and I tend to agree with him, there's no one right answer, no single recipe for wisdom. It's more about, well, the journey itself.
Okay, so embracing the journey, not just obsessing over the destination. Does that resonate with you? Have you found that to be true in your own life?
Absolutely. All the time. I think about all those times I hesitated to try something new because, well, fear of failure. But then later I find myself thinking, why didn't I just go for it?
It's those what-if moments that can really keep you up at night.
They do. But they can also be incredible teachers, reminding us that often the greatest growth happens when we step outside of that comfort zone.
It's like they say, the biggest risk is not taking a risk at all, right?
Exactly. But what I think Kalimanus is getting at here is that those risks, they don't have to be these big, life-altering things like quitting your job or anything. Sometimes the biggest risks are the ones we take in our own hearts and minds.
Challenging your own beliefs, maybe? Or finally deciding to speak up for what you know is right, even when it's difficult.
Yes. Exactly. And that's where the real magic of, well, I guess you could say, wizardry comes in. It's that realization that we have more power than we often realize. We can choose curiosity over fear. We can choose integrity over just, I don't know, apathy, I guess you could say.
So it's not about having all the answers, right? It's about cultivating that mindset, that willingness to learn, to grow, to maybe even change your mind once in a while.
It is. It's about being open to the world and all its messy, complicated, utterly magical glory. And knowing that wisdom, well, it's not some final destination. It's something we work towards, stumble towards, maybe even dance towards throughout our lives.
Stumbling, learning, growing, and through it all, maybe we sprinkle a little bit of that wisdom, that magic, wherever we go.
I love that.
Well, on that note, dear listener, as we close the chapter on this particular deep dive, we leave you with this. What's your road less traveled? What choices, big or small, can you make today to tap into your own inner wizard?
Falling in the face of the world, let it out, flags unfurled.